Hi everyone. I wanted to make a video and start creating a series of videos that would document my journey of diving into the creative expression of my gifts and what sort of feels like the starting over of something that feels a little bit abstract right now, like clear in my heart, but abstract to my mind. And so there's this reckoning that is taking place within me, and I feel like it really wants to be expressed. And so I'd love to speak to the creative process and how there comes a time within that journey, or even in any moment of life, where there is a transition of the iteration of yourself, or the season of life, or something life changing, in which the weight of carrying what that comes with becomes heavier than just letting the thing be born, letting the thing be emerged through the portal of our expression and our humanness. And I've been swirling in this energy for a while now. It feels like I'm stewarding or holding something sacred while simultaneously being tethered to this swirly energy around my solar plexus, like around my gut, that is inside me, waiting for the right words and the right time, when really the truth is there's never going to be a right time. And I think as humans, with the conditioning of wanting to please, I know that I can be a people pleaser, and that can be the tendency to which I orient to. And that tends to precede everything else that feels magnificent behind it, which is really unfortunate, because there are a lot of women and mothers and humans out there that have something beautiful to express, but maybe are gatekeeping it behind the walls of insecurity and right timing, because life, which I totally can relate to, I understand it. But in the spirit of feeling called to fuck it energy, and the time is now, this is my first video of sharing this journey with you. And so I want to talk about how I tend to take myself seriously sometimes. And I get that, because what the ideas we have or we're being shown can feel really sacred and really precious. And yeah, there's ideas and visions that are crossing our path all the time, and there's certain ones that are going to stand out. But what my sense is more, and after working with someone through this, is our ideas are not asking us to be perfect, and maybe they just want to be played with and romanced and danced with and engaged with, not so much extracted from, but rather engaged with in a sense where we get to bring the fullness of who we are and where we are at any given moment in time. And one thing that I think is so beautiful about this invitation in creativity is that we can be in the practice of imperfect expression. We can give ourselves that permission slip to just play with it like you would someone you were interested in, like you're flirting with the idea of something becoming manifest, and it's right there. And so I think of it in terms of a new relationship, or if you're going on a first date, or you're entertaining something new and exciting, like the new love, and there's that first kiss, and there's magic in the mess of that, in the becoming of something we hold dear to our heart. And one thing about that isn't always talked about is the unglamorous part behind the scenes that no one always sees. The reckoning within ourselves, the contortion of feelings going back and forth, and that inner dialogue of, if I'm good enough for this, or can I show up for this person, and is this a good idea or not a good idea? And it can feel unglamorous. And sometimes that isn't indicative that it's wrong, but perhaps it's indicative of how real it is. Why? Because you're feeling all the feelings within yourself. And I'm not saying that our feelings are everything. However, the thoughts we attach to the feelings that come up can determine the charge through which those feelings are expressed. And so it's really powerful to just notice the stories we tell ourselves and if they are succinct with what is actually real and what's happening. Because sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that world of story and thought and beliefs and conditionings and charge them up to the emotion we're feeling. Sometimes I think of this, if our emotions were a machine and our thoughts were the plug through which the machine gets its power, then our thoughts are what charge up the machine with the frequency that it is going to be expressed and operating from. And so if the thoughts we attach to something exciting is, I'm not good enough, it's not going to be great, then that is the frequency through which that idea, that emotion is going to be expressed in. And so I don't believe we can think our way out of feeling something. I believe our feelings are powerful. They're like our internal GPS. However, it's important to notice the stories that we attach to them because the thoughts we think about them can be shifted. And they are important to notice, but they aren't everything. There's a both and story that's taking place. And so, yeah, I am swirling in the realness of this, and it feels like this beautiful ruin of pulverization and reckoning, but with every part of me that is broken. I am getting broken open into parts of myself that I'm learning all the time. And I'm 41 now, and I'm a mother of a 2 and 4 year old, and it feels like I'm in the infancy of the second half of my life. And that's if I have the honor and privilege of living to my 80s or 90s and beyond. And I think about the precious resource of time that we have and just how much life is lifing, even in the mundane. And so it's easy to take this for granted, and yet the decisions and the way through which we live life today is setting us up for how we live and how we experience life in our 80s, in our 90s, and thereafter. There's this quote that I love, and it's something like, the quality of our relationships in our 40s determines the quality of our health in our 80s. And I think about this from the lens of our relational dynamics, not just with the people we love, but the way through which we relate with life. And there's such an aspect beneath the currents of everything we're consciously experiencing that are deeply rooted and have the potential to magnify the love and or even the disdain we might have for something. But what is beneath the root? How are we relating with ourselves? How are we relating with an idea or a project that is really exciting for us? Are we treating it like a side piece, or are we treating it like a love that we truly want to get to know and be in a relationship with? If you're in a relationship with someone you love and you feel like you're in it for the long game, you're not going to be in a rush to try to figure everything out, or maybe there's a piece of you that will. But so much of the emergence of that loving relationship is built in the mundane, in the little things that aren't always shown on the surface every day. The choices we make every day that are either moving us towards that which we say we want to create, or they're not. They're either in expression towards, expansion towards, or contraction in being where we are before we say we want to express something. And there's no right or wrong. It's all information. It's all information through which it is forming a reality that we are experiencing in relation to these ideas and these businesses and these creations that we want to express. And so as a 41-year-old that feels like I'm at the infancy of something, I want to give myself a little bit more credit as to how much I actually dabble in this world of my creativity and my gifts. But so much of my conditioning has been centered upon not being educated enough, or not having something so abstract and wonderfully beautiful and helpful and supportive, according to the reflections I've been shared through others I've worked with. But it's not out there in the system. And so in a lot of ways this can feel very foreign to people that, for example, are moving from like corporate to fuck it, I want to do something more organic that feels alive for me, that is more artistic or creative and isn't so much to do with a 9 to 5 grind. And yet the translation of that is, I don't know if it's acceptable because we have this huge belief that in order to belong, it has to fit in the system. And yet, what if the deeper call is to create a new one wherein all of you is allowed to be? And yeah, I wonder if there's anyone else out there. I'd love to hear in the comments if you're a woman in your 40s, maybe you started motherhood in what the Western system called as the geriatric years. I myself did. I was 37 with my first and 39 with my second. And 4 years later, now that they're 2 and 4, I'm feeling like I'm only starting to truly appreciate motherhood from a lens of like, just like what a gift it is, even the mess behind me and what it comes with, and like the death of the relationship my partner and I had before becoming parents, and then of parents of one, and then parents of two, and the shifts that happen within that container, and learning to take all those parts and weave it into a tapestry that actually works for us. But it's not to say it doesn't come with breakdowns. The breakdowns that have broken us open and have led us both on this path of re-exploring what it is to live a rich, thriving life. And yeah, I'm here for that. And you don't have to be in your 40s to be going through this. You could be in your 20s and going through a breakup or just questioning your choice of vocation or anything like that. But for me, I'm going to speak from my lens of being 41 and feeling like I want to turn my calling into a career. For back info, I was a hairstylist for 15 years, and that was fantastic. But there was a deeper part of me that questioned if it was ever enough. And what I got from it on the surface was this powerful skill set of learning to connect one-to-one with people, and the art of really listening, not listening to respond, but listening to simply hold space for someone that is vulnerably sharing aspects of their life that they might not even share with their therapist or their best friend. And so I, for 15 years, got to tend to that sacred gift. And that was always the thing that kept me back there and kept me returning to that place. And I loved being playful with hair and doing hair, but primarily it was always about this element of relational building and just learning from my clients about who they were and who they are and why we choose the way we choose. And I've always wanted to help people and help be in service in some way, shape, or form. And I just didn't know what that looked like. I thought when I was younger, I was raised in private school, and that's a whole other video, but it was interesting to be in that environment and always feel like I never really fit in. And yet always trying to belong based on like the social demographic and what my peers were doing, just because I just wanted to belong. And so hairdressing for me didn't feel like it fit under any of the careers that would come out of the schools I went to. And I've done a lot of work around this, and I know so many hairstylists that have built successful, awesome businesses. And the thing though about wealth and abundance and creativity is that happiness isn't always about seeking it. It's actually in the suspending of seeking it, because it's learning to accept that life is messy and that we need not seek happiness, and that which we live and express, even in the mess, has nectar in it. And so when I was younger and thought I wanted to be a doctor, I just, as I got older, realized like it doesn't have to look like that. It can look like what is in service to helping others, and that medicine does not only come in that form. And so your medicine might be poetry or singing or acting or painting or flipping burgers, for all I know. What feels most alive? And for me, it looked like coaching. It looks like coaching, a form of counseling, helping, being in service to I don't even really love those words, but it's somewhere in that realm of worlds. And that is the background through which I have explored within myself. And I've done a lot of energy work. I've done a lot of exploring with coaching and just helping people connect with themselves. I've explored a lot of holistic spaces in which we honor the womb as a portal of continuum. I have practiced Reiki. I am currently a student of somatic therapy. So there is a lot there. There is a lot in which these are the results of following a thread that has continued to excite me, but more importantly, something that I've embodied within myself through my own live life experience and becoming curious with how I can alchemize that as a place of deep learning and sharing with others that may need it. And so, as a mother, a writer, I'm also a podcast host of Ritual of Wild, which is another channel in this space. I'd love for you to check it out with some super powerful, heart opening conversations. I'm also a student of somatic therapy. I have done my Reiki 1 and 2, and I mostly am a wildly human woman in the messiness of her expression and the beauty of it too. And so I like to walk between what's mystical and what is very real, and between what aches and yet also what awakens through those aches. If I had to distill this all in one sentence, I would say that I midwife embodied expression through presence and power. I believe in tending the sacred middle ground and the space between what was and what's yet to come. There's so much life in the in-between, and I really want to speak to the women that know what I mean. And if you're out there, I'd love to connect. Please share in the comments if you're also navigating this liminal space, this junction point. If it's the starting over after a job loss or a career shift, or the identity quake of motherhood. The ones that are waking up in midlife wondering, is this it or is there more? One fun fact in Chinese medicine is that we have 3 golden opportunities in Chinese medicine, and it is menarche, birth, as well as menopause. And being 41 now, I am in that arena of experiencing the perimenopausal symptoms. And the reason that these are golden opportunities is because these tend to be the 3 periods, the 3 rites of passage in a woman's life. And there are many, but these are 3 major ones in which there is a lot of transformation within the body, but where the veil is thin through which it reveals to us if we have any health deficits within our bodies. And so they're golden opportunities because we can then tend to that which is calling for more harmony and balance within ourselves. And that goes beyond just what we're feeling, but also how we're interacting with what we're feeling, as in what we're eating and what we're taking in through the eyes, what we're looking at, where our attention and energy goes, how we are consuming life. There's so much to it. And in Ayurveda, there is such a thing called the medicine of subtraction, where less is in fact more. And we begin to audit and distill from a place of where is there overculmination? Where is there an overage of carrying too much in our life? And where can we afford to subtract to create more space? And I feel like when we become alive with these ideas of creativity, or if you are being visited by inspiration or a muse or just something interesting, it's there. It tends to stir up within us everything that it's not. And then we tend to be drawn to aspects of it where it is showing up in our life, where there is this alignment that is so unmistakable that when you see it and feel it, you can't unsee it or unfeel it. You know that it's there. And so I just wanted to declare this mostly for myself. I don't know how this is going to land or where it's going to go, but I hope for someone beyond me, and that knowing that you're not too late, you're not too much, and it's not too early to begin again. It's not too late to begin again. And I turned 42 in June, and this is me beginning. And this is me giving myself that permission slip to be imperfect, sacred, alive, and fully mine. And this video will be a first of many, a series like a living love letter to that middle ground, the space in between through which we are exploring a shift or a transformation that often gets overlooked. And it's to the wild, winding, non-linear path back to ourself. I feel like life isn't about arriving somewhere, but rather the remembering, literally remembering, becoming a member of this body and honoring the sacred portal that it is. And to the women like me and maybe like you who are rewriting the story in the middle of life or in the middle of a challenge or a transition, I'm here for it. I love stewarding and navigating this type of work. And if this speaks to you, I hope you'll subscribe and follow along and walk with me, because maybe through these conversations we can remember with what's real and what's beautiful within the marrow of our bones of creativity and existence, and just to begin again together. Yeah, and I just really appreciate being here, and there's going to be so much more to come. And just even in the speaking of this and just doing the damn thing, I'm just like connecting with the energy within my throat chakra and noticing how powerful it is to have this privilege where so many might not even be able to express their voice. And so it's like that with our creativity and everything we're journeying with. It's such a powerful place to be, and I really hope that through this space you can connect and meet more of yourself, and I'm really excited to journey together.